Welcome to SharePoint Site Owner Training. Most of what we're going to do in this training session is specific to the site owner, and you must be a site owner and have site owner permissions in order to do most of what we're going to show you in this next section. When you first get a new SharePoint site, this is what your new SharePoint site will look like as a default. Typically, you're going to get an email message from something at 365, and a lot of times it looks like junk email, but if you are expecting a new SharePoint site, you will want to watch for that email that comes through. Once you get that email, you want to click on the link, and that will bring you to a new SharePoint site. Again, the first thing you want to do is click on follow to follow that site so that it will show up on your list of sites that you're following. So when you first have your new site, you'll see you have all of these icons here that are going to help you get your site started. So the first thing is to share your site. Obviously, it's not much of a SharePoint site if you're the only one who has access to it. The next one is working on a deadline, which will allow you to add some tasks, add lists, libraries, and other apps. What's your style will allow you to kind of customize that a little bit, and then your site, your brand. So those will give you some different options that you can customize your SharePoint site and make it a little bit more unique to you. Going down the left-hand navigation, these are the defaults that come with a new site. As a site owner, you do have the option to edit that. So if I click on Edit Links, I can now edit this left navigation. I don't have any intentions of using the notebook, and I don't want others that I invite to my site using the notebook, so I'll click on the X to remove that from the navigation. If I want to rename things, I can simply click on Documents and call this Training Library and rename it. Click on Save, and that will then update that left navigation. If I want to give this site a new look, I can click on What's Your Style. So far, marketing has not told us that we have to make every site blue or every site brown and orange, so we have a little bit of flexibility here on some different ways to make our SharePoint site look a little different. So here you've got some different samples of things that you can select from. So I'll go ahead and select one of these. Then it brings us into this next page where we can change a few more settings. You'll notice here we still have an option to change color. So even though I selected this green, if I decide that I want it to be purple or I want it to be some other color, I can still come in here at this point and I can change this to another color. We also have an option where you can drop an image in here. So if you want basically a watermark behind your SharePoint site, you can put in some type of graphic image here, and you've got an option to just change that. If you picked one of those that has like the sea monster on it or the flowers on it, and you decide you don't want that watermark, you can click on Remove. So those are a few options that you have here. You'll notice in the sample here it does have the left navigation. That's because the site layout here is Seattle. If the one you chose is the Oslo, you'll see that your navigation is up at the top. For training purposes, I like to keep mine on the left, so I'm going to keep that as Seattle. We can also change the font scheme, so if we want a different font scheme, we can select a different font scheme. And then we'll go ahead and click on Try It Out. This does typically take a few minutes sometimes for it to bring that up. You'll just go ahead and click yes that you want to keep that, or if for some reason you don't like it, you can do no, not quite there, and go in and make additional changes. We also have an option here to do some more customization. So I'm going to click on your site, your logo, your brand. And from here we have the title of our site. Typically you do want to leave that as is. Normally that's the information that you gave to ITS when you requested a new site. If something is spelled wrong or something isn't quite right, you do have the option that you can come in and change the name of that site. The description is optional. Most of that won't even show up, but there'll be a little I for information. So if you want to see that description, you would have to click on that I to see that information. If you want a logo, this is actually a subsite of the Sandbox, so it has the Sandbox logo. I can come in here and delete all of that out, and then it will go back to the standard default SharePoint logo. Or if I have some kind of department or project team logo or something I want to put in there, then I can come and select that file. For now, I'm going to just leave that with the default SharePoint logo. Again, you can enter a description, and that's just totally optional. And then we have the website address. I would recommend you leave that as is. If you have a long URL name, and maybe there's some kind of acronym, you might want to change that, but that is something you'll want to do before you invite anyone else to your site. Otherwise, they won't be able to access your site if that is changed.
Thanks for watching. For more tech training videos, visit www.bgsu.edu/tech training or subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our other social media.